All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. I am Jeremy. I will be running this call today. Uh, and I'll just give it a couple minutes. So far, we only got one person joining, but I'll give it a couple minutes. VZ, if you do have a question or anything you want to kind of take a look at or poke around with, just let me know. Otherwise, we'll give it another minute to see if anyone else will be joining, and then we'll kind of start talking about what we can talk about. All right. Well, while we wait to see if anyone else will be joining for the day, let's just kind of run through some of the usual things, and I'll kind of point out some important things going on in our world. As you can see, I will be leading the rest of this week. That is because we have our Submerse event going on currently in the WHQ or in our main office in Virginia Beach. But if you ever want to learn more about those kinds of events, you can go to our website and under resources and events, or you can go to decisions.com/events. You can track some of these and kind of follow along what we're doing. We've got a webinar later this week that you can always check out. And then you can kind of see a list of all of our upcoming events, especially all of our Submerse events. So you can see here in October, we've got the virtual Submerse event as well as one in Singapore. We've got another one coming up in Virginia Beach in November, as well as the one that's happening this week right now in Virginia Beach, and things like upcoming webinars and stuff. So you can see all of these things on our website. So definitely check those out. It wouldn't surprise me if we don't get a lot of people if a lot of people are trying to tune in or check out things in Submerse. I'm not sure how many of our usual suspects for Lunch and Learn are doing anything with Submerse this week or not. Also, those QR codes that we had here on our presentation. One of them is for the Solutions Marketplace, so you can always check that out as well. It is also in the Resources tab on our website. But this is just a great list of different applications and things that you can kind of try out and play around with in Decisions. You can download them from here and export them and place them into your Decisions instance to check out things, to track annual holidays or any change control management, CSS generators, all kinds of different things you can check out. So some great little applications and things kind of pre-built and set up for you, so you don't necessarily have to do everything if any of these are interesting to you. And then the last thing that I will point out is our Decision Support YouTube channel. This is where we put all of our lunch and learns, but you can also see we've been updating it with other important content, different kind of interesting things to keep track of, and some neat videos. So we have a couple of videos that we posted for the 9.2, any new features that we had in 9.2 update, as well as breaking changes and some issues and stuff. Some different content, stuff about the report views and stuff about database views. So some great videos there to kind of learn some new things that Decisions has. And then we've also been working on and starting some step by step, a new series where we focus on looking at one step in Decisions and trying to talk about like everything about it and some common missteps related to that step and different things like that. So we will be updating things and introducing some different videos and stuff over these concepts. So definitely check out our YouTube channel as well. You know, hit the like button, subscribe, all those things that all the YouTubers say nowadays, so you can keep track of that stuff. Otherwise, unless we have any other questions, I don't know if we have anything we can go over today, or anything we wanted to take a look at. It doesn't look like we have any pre-submitted questions either. I guess we'll just poke around some version 9 stuff then, so we at least get a little bit. Always messed around too much with error handling. So maybe this will be interesting or new for people that aren't as familiar with error handling stuff. So in version 9, if you didn't know, we've added an error handling section. It's under the health category in our manage section within a project where you can actually create or build a default error handling flow. So a flow that will actually run and check any errors and things like that. So I'm just going to create a quick test error handling. Nothing fancy. And just to kind of see what happens. So the idea here is we have this error handling flow that you can actually have it run. And obviously this is not what you would normally want to do in any kind of um, actual error handling flow. I'm just kind of doing it to demonstrate what could happen. So if you were to run a process and an error were to occur, what this can do is it'll actually automatically run the flow that you have configured in this error handling section here. So in this example, I just did a very poor, an error occurred, oops, problematic thing, a little pop-up here in my error handling flow. And now anytime in this project I were to experience an error, it will actually automatically run this error handling flow for me. So like we saw here, if I run this again, I run test error, I get an error occurred. Oops, something happened. This pop-up that I configured in that error handling flow. If you think about it back in version 8, you typically had to place your error handling flow. Maybe you made a subflow that you can just automatically place in all of your flows and things and any projects and stuff that you had, and things like that. In version 8, that's what you had to do, or you had to configure it, from scratch in any steps and things, right? Throw exception steps in there and stuff like that, right? That's how version 8 worked. But now that we have this project situation here, where we can just create any flows and we can have these pre-configured things like the error handling flow here. It can automatically run for us without us having to purposefully place anything in there. And so this is just a great little way, a new little thing in version 9 that I think might get easily overlooked, especially if you're kind of overwhelmed or getting used to all the new things like the new public folders and different things like that that are different in between versions. That can easily get overlooked, and it can just make the error handling process really easy. So if you have some kind of overarching error handling process that you would like to do, you know setting up some kind of throw exception. This is one of those popular things that a lot of people will use because you can set up a throw exception message, log steps, right? Quite often people want to log any errors and things that happen. Maybe you want to send some kind of notification through email, or maybe you want to create an assignment for someone. Whatever it is that you want to do in your error handling, you can set it up in one flow, and then without needing to add anything extra in any of your flows throughout this project, you can do anything like that with it. So it does kind of create like a good amount of um, or opens up a lot of configurability with things that you can do. So it'll run on this project anytime that you have an issue or problem in your flows. And then in addition to this, if you didn't want to always use this, or maybe you had a, a unique flow that you didn't want to use that, you can still set up your own throw exception steps and additional rest of your process throughout something if you wanted to throw and catch an exception in a process separate from that pre-configured or kind of like global or project-wide error handling process. So even if you had your own separate flow that you want, or maybe, for a majority of your project, all of your flows, you want it to run that default error handling flow, but this one specific flow, you want a different one, you can set it up to do that as well if you would like. So it does create a lot of interesting and great ways to view things if you're trying to look for, we're trying to kind of add things. And then VT asked, if this is global error handling, do you have access to project name in which this occurred? And so if I take a look at this, right, if in my error handling flow, if I just go to select from flow, you can see I kind of actually have a number of different things. It'll automatically grab, obviously, all the flow data. So any of the flow data related to this, so I can grab, user data, flow tracking ID or anything if I need to track any of those things. Or I want to, track any of that kind of process, right? That's always available in everything. But then in addition, I can grab all of the exception specific data so that I can track the exceptions that are related to it. I don't have to go out of my way to create that or anything. It's attached since it hit an error, it knows to grab those things, as well as the step that it occurred, if the error occurred on a specific step, the flow that error occurred, and the flow ID of that particular item. I don't necessarily know if the project is automatically associated with it. However, it is not it's not global wide, it's project wide. So this is a setting in the project only. So like in my lunch and learn project, I have my error handling flow. And then in my data modeling project, I have an error handling flow. So you could use a flow across multiple things if maybe you have like one flow in a global resources project that you want to use spread throughout. But it is a project specific flow that you would set up. So since you do have to set it up on the project level, and there isn't, I don't believe, unless there's something that I missed, but I really don't think there is a full global version of this. Yeah, nothing's jumping out at me for a global thing, so I'm pretty sure that there is not a global version of this. So you kind of already know that it's in the project. So if you are going to reuse some kind of flow across everything, you may want to just consider, something else to highlight what project it is in case you're, running multiple projects with similar things. That way, if you're kind of getting a bunch of logs with a bunch of different things, you won't get it kind of lost and mixed up in what's actually happening. But yeah, since they are project level, you do have that. It is kind of already set up to be that without necessarily needing to grab. And so I assume that is why project isn't specifically one of the values that you can grab here. But you could also generate that and grab it yourself if you need to. Good questions. And obviously also, if anyone, especially, I know you seem to have a pretty good head on your shoulders, VT, being in here, but so I don't think you would necessarily do this, but just want to disclaimer this for anyone else out there that may be watching this on YouTube or whatever. This is not a good error handling process right here. A show pop-up step is purely temporary and will only show up to users that are currently using decisions. It is not a good not a good error handling process here. So please do not copy me in this particular respect. Obviously, you would want to do more like a catch exception step, or maybe not even catch exception because you don't need that because it'll automatically do that for you. But typically you want to write logs, so a log step is useful, and then you'd want to, send that information somewhere. Um, so quite often a lot of people will use some kind of messaging, but a proper message, not just a pop-up, something like an email to send users or an assignment, especially if it's something that needs to be corrected before the process can finish, things like that. So definitely keep that in mind if you are working with a project and you want to set up your error handling. It's nice and easy in version 9. All right. Do we have any other additional questions for the day? Otherwise, we can keep this one short and sweet. All right. Well then, it has been almost 20 minutes in Lunch and Learn today, so I think we will end it here. Thank you, VT, for attending. Thank you for those that watch on YouTube. If we need anything else, we still got the rest of this week. I'll be joining since most of the other team is going to be working on some things with our Submerse event. But if we have any questions, I am always happy to help and answer. And so we will do that tomorrow and Thursday. Thank you all for watching, and we will catch you next time on Lunch and Learn.